What happens when architects are given free rein and budgets to design a unique structure that will stand out from the rest? The answer lies in this list of 7 most unusual buildings from around the world. Very few buildings can make you dizzy with just one look. The Crooked House in Poland's Sopot is unique in that regard. This bizarre building looks like it's built entirely of rubber and could collapse at any moment. But the architects assure us that it is indeed structurally sound. Built in 2004 by architects Shatinsky and Zaleski, the designer of the Crooked House was inspired by illustrations from a popular Polish children's book. The end result looks like an animation, with warped walls, curved stained glass, and blue-green roof shingles that are meant to resemble a cartoon dragon. While it looks like it should be the home of a mythical creature, this structure is disappointingly just a commercial building. It even has a franchise of the British coffee shop Costa Coffee on the first floor. What should an architect build when tasked with making the headquarters of a popular basket manufacturer? A giant basket-shaped building, of course. The Big Basket Building in Newark, Ohio was initially built to serve as the headquarters of the Longaberger Company. It is a prime example of mimetic architecture, in which buildings are made to represent objects for the purpose of advertising their function. And even though Longaberger no longer owns this building, anyone who drives by it is bound to immediately think about baskets. Completed in 1997, the 180,000 square foot building has grand interiors too. With a central atrium, glass ceilings, and a cherry wood staircase, it's understandable why it cost over $30 million to make. But it's the building's exterior, with its massive steel handles, that make it a local landmark. Unfortunately, Longaberger shut down operations in 2018, and the building was sold to a local developer. Since then, there has been speculation over what the building should house next. Locals have petitioned to save the grand structure, and in 2020, there was talk that it may soon be converted into a luxury hotel. If you had to ask an architect in the 1970s what they thought houses in the future would look like, you would get France's Bubble Palace. Resembling a building straight out of the Star Wars franchise, this curvaceous series of interconnecting domes near Cannes was the brainchild of Hungarian architect Antti Lovag. It was constructed in 1975 and 1989 for one of Lovag's biggest patrons, the French industrialist Pierre Bernard. But it was another Pierre, fashion designer Pierre Cardin, who ended up eventually owning the house. Cardin said that he bought it as a holiday home but never stayed in it. He would instead use it to throw after parties for the Cannes Film Festival and fashion events like the Dior Cruise Collection. The 1,200 square meter palace is often rented out for commercials and other filming purposes for up to 30,000 euros a day. It has multiple swimming pools and waterfalls, a 500-seat open-air amphitheater, 10 bedrooms, and a panoramic lounge. Since Cardin's passing in 2020, the house is back on the market. Considering that it is recognized as a historic monument by the French Ministry of Culture, it shouldn't struggle to find any takers. You'd be surprised to learn that one of Barcelona's most iconic buildings isn't a cathedral. The Casa Batlló is a former residential building converted in the early 1900s to look like a structure straight out of a fairy tale. The vision of architect Antoni Gaudí, the Casa Batlló has curved balconies, is covered in flowers, and has window panes and pillars that are shaped like human bones. Inspired by nature, the building is one of the greatest examples of Catalan Art Nouveau, or Modernissimi, an art movement popular in Spain until the late 1800s and early 1900s. Some rooms are reminiscent of a forest, while others are underwater themed. The building's roof is shaped like the back of a dragon and offers a spectacular view of Barcelona. In fact, if you look through a hole in one part of the curved roof, you have a direct view of Sagrada Familia, another famous building designed by Gaudí. In 2005, the building was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is now open for cultural tours. About 1 million people visit the building every year. One of Shanghai's most popular buildings is so unusual, it actually changes its appearance multiple times a day. The Fosun Foundation lies on the waterfront at the center of Shanghai's Bund Financial District. The 4,000 square meter building has 3 floors, the top of which is a large exhibition hall that hosts cultural performances, forums, and summits. But of course, what we're really interested in is the building's exterior. 3 giant curtains made of stainless steel pipes slowly rotate around the structure all day, revealing different parts of the building and giving the structure a futuristic look. These overlapping veils, as the designers call them, were either inspired by traditional theater curtains, a Chinese crown, or a harp, depending on what source you believe. Completed in 2019, the Fosun Foundation was designed by British architecture firms Foster & Partners and Heatherwick Studio. It is one of the most significant examples of experimental architecture from China. From East Asia, we make our way to South America, to a building with such a prehistoric look, it could have housed the Flintstones. The Casa Terracotta in the Colombian town of Villa de Leyva is possibly the world's most ambitious pottery project. Architect Octavio Mendoza built the structure entirely of clay and left it to harden in the sun. Despite its clumsy appearance, the cottage wasn't easy to make. Mendoza started building it in 1999, but only considered it complete in 2016. Its exterior slopes and curves in a way that you wouldn't expect when you learn there was no steel or cement used. The interiors, including a large living room, a fully functioning kitchen, and a dining room, were also entirely made of clay and are a lot more spacious than you think. From the roof, tourists have a stunning view of the lush garden and the many sculptures it houses below. The upstairs patio also has a barbecue area carved out of, you guessed it, clay. The Casa Terracotta, as architect Mendoza says, is a tribute to the 4 elements and seeks to promote an alternative and harmonious lifestyle. Another prime example of mimetic architecture, this giant fish in India's Hyderabad serves as a regional office of the country's National Fisheries Development Board. Unveiled in 2012, the 4-story building is hoisted on several columns to give the impression that a fish is hovering above the ground. And indeed, at night, when the blue and purple LED lights are cast on the structure, it does look like the fish is swimming through the ocean. The fish's eyes act as windows to the 2 government offices, while guests enter through a door under the left pectoral fin. The building, which was designed by the country's Central Public Works Department, has divided architects and residents alike, with some awestruck by the novelty of the design, and others disappointed by its execution. But whichever side of the argument you stand on, it's impossible to deny that the building is both eye-catching and unusual.